The house on East 2nd Street in Villisca, Iowa, looks like any other old Midwestern home. White wood siding, a quiet porch, a yard that hasn't changed in over a century, but anyone who knows the story understands why locals still avoid walking past it at night. This is the house where an entire family vanished in one silent night in 1912. Without a single neighbor hearing a scream, it began with Josiah and Sarah Moore, a normal couple living their normal small-town life with their 4 children. That evening, they had 2 overnight guests, 2 little girls who had spent the day playing with the Moore kids until they all collapsed into bed from exhaustion. When the lights finally went out, 8 people slept peacefully inside the house. No one knew a stranger was already in the attic. Later, investigators would piece together a theory. Someone had slipped into the house before sunset and hid among the rafters, listening to the family move from room to room. Imagine the sounds he heard, the laughter, the footsteps, the bedtime routines, while he sat, completely still in the dark above them. Sometime after midnight, he crept down the narrow attic ladder. The house was so quiet that he could hear his own breathing. He walked first into the parents' bedroom. What happened next was fast, brutal, and strangely precise. No one woke up in time to react. No one even had a chance to get out of bed. What confused investigators most was the pattern. Every mirror in the house had been covered, every window shade pulled tight. The killer moved from room to room with a calmness that didn't make sense. One officer later said it was like he wanted the house to feel blind. But the strangest detail wasn't discovered until hours later, when they checked the kitchen. On the table was a plate of untouched food. Next to it sat a bowl of water clouded with blood, as if the killer had calmly washed his hands and taken a meal break before leaving. No money was stolen. No doors were forced open. Nothing was missing except the murderer. People in Villisca whispered theories for decades. Some said it was a drifter passing through. Others swore it was someone the Moore family knew. But the most unsettling stories came from neighbors who lived closest to the house. Several claimed they heard something around 5 a.m. Not screams, not footsteps, just the faint sound of someone striking a piece of metal against the ground. One neighbor said it sounded like someone sharpening an axe against a stone. It wasn't until much later that investigators realized the killer had stayed longer than they first believed. There were signs he might have waited inside the house until sunrise, long after the family was gone. The final twist came years later, when the new owners moved in. They reported hearing footsteps in the attic at night, slow and deliberate, like someone pacing back and forth. Other visitors claimed they felt watched whenever they walked up the stairs, even though the house was empty. But the detail that still shakes people the most is this. In the attic, carved into the wooden wall, someone found a small marking, something like a name or initials, scratched deep into the beam. It wasn't from the Moore family, and it wasn't from any investigator. It looked like someone had been counting the days they'd spent hiding up there, and the last mark was dated the day after the murders. To this day, no one knows who was in the house. No one knows how long he'd been watching the family. And no one knows where he went when he quietly walked down the stairs for the last time, stepped out into the morning light, and disappeared forever. But locals still swear that if you stand outside the house at night, and listen closely, you can hear it. The soft creak of footsteps above you in the attic, where someone once waited for the entire Moore family to fall asleep. And for some reason, it still sounds like they're waiting.